This time I got another one of these modern cheap TVs that aren't worth fixing. To take a quick look at it and see if we can get this one working without putting any parts in, because it's certainly not worth spending any money on. These TVs, you can buy them for about 169 bucks brand new. So they're certainly not worth putting any money into, but if we can get this one working without any parts, that's the name of the game. Coming right up. Looks like we got a bad backlight. So I'll pull all the screws off and get the bezel off so we can examine the LEDs and bypass the broken one and see if we can get this thing working without putting any parts into it. So let's get to strip the set down so that I can undo the LVDS connector to the tab so that I can remove the screen. I guess I got to remove the bezel off of this one too, but this is all-in-one. The back on this is the backlights are stuck right to the metal back, and there's just this little hatch that goes on the back of it here. Okay, I gotta unplug this, undo this board. And I've undone the screws that hold the tabs in place, or the driver board that's got the tabs on it. That's out of the way. I'm not quite sure how this comes apart on this, even though I have taken one of these apart before. The bezel should lift off, and the screen should just separate from the bezel. It should just fall away. If I take the bezel off, oh, I guess I better undo a couple screws here that would hold the bezel in place. And then the screen should just fall away from it. I should be able to flip this tab down out of the way and just basically lift the back off the set, and everything else should stay here on the bench. I think that's how it works. If I just flip this out of the way, I can lift the back off. Probably lift it off with the screen. There we go. There, the back just lifts off, just like that, from the screen. There's the screen. Okay, I'll put that away for safekeeping, and we'll get the rest of the set apart so I can see the LEDs. Now I just have to remove the frame that holds the diffusers in place. Oops. Bit, but these will just pop out, I think. Yeah, these should just all pop out all the way around. That way I can lift this diffuser off to get to the backlights. Okay, that's the diffuser, or the retainer for the diffuser. Now I'll just lift the diffuser out of the way to expose the backlights. So I'm going to go through with my 3-volt supply and just see which backlight is not working. That one works, so we'll just go through and test them all till we find one that doesn't work. And then we're going to bypass the one that doesn't work. Let's see if that'll get this one working, because we don't want to put any money into a set like this. It's just not worth it. If we can make a TV like this work without spending any money, then everybody's happy. So we just apply 3 volts to each LED and find which one's not working. It's that one there. I know that because when I touched it, The others, all the others started to kind of light a bit. So that's the one that's open. This one here is bad, and if I go over to this last one here, this one here will light. So this is the one that's bad. I'm going to put a jump wire across here, and that should make the rest of the panel work. Alternately, I can just scrape some of the insulation away here, just put a little solder blob here, because you can see where the LED is. This one's connected down here, and you can see the outside of it comes around over here. So if I were to measure between there and where I've scraped, I'd have 0 ohms. It's all in the same trace. So all I need to do is just throw a bit of solder down onto the board to bypass the one that's bad, and the rest of the set should start to work. So that should do it, just like that. I've done that before on sets. I had one similar to this set that I'm still using as a monitor. This is a same type of set. And I did that, like, I don't know, probably 7 or 8 months ago, 9 months ago, I forget when it was, early in the year, last winter. I had one very similar to this. And it had an LED that was out, and it's still running. So this one here, this one's gone out. I've just bypassed it. Let's get the set back together and see if it works. I'm sure it will work fine. At least on these sets, they use screws to hold down the diffuser instead of plastic tabs. Like a lot of them use these plastic clips, which half the time they break when you try to remove them, or you got to start squeezing tabs together on the back. At least this one used screws, which made removing it a little bit easier. I did check the other LEDs, and all the rest of them are okay. So there's just this one bad one here on this set. And I know someone's going to comment now about why don't they put them in parallel, because every time I do one of these sets, everyone says the same thing. Why don't they put them in parallel? Well, it really doesn't matter, because you see, an LED can short, and if they're wired in series and one shorts, no big deal. The set keeps running. If they go open, then the set goes out. If you were to put all the LEDs in parallel with each other, you'd need a power supply that would supply enough current to power the number of LEDs you had in parallel. And a power supply like that's going to produce enough current that if one of them were to short, would create a problem. So you would have to have some type of circuit protection for each individual LED, so that if something did short, it could shut the set down, or at least take that one out of the circuit. It would have to jump that, or would have to take that one out. And that's an absolute must. So you're adding, if you've got, some TVs might have 100 LEDs, so now you're going to have 100 circuit protectors that would pop immediately if the LED were to short. Then if you had one that went open, the panel would run, and if you had one that shorted, the circuit protector would pop to take it out. So it's costs a lot more to make it that way, and these TVs are pretty cheap, so they're not going to go to any additional cost, even if it might increase the reliability ever so slightly. Now that I've got the bezel installed for the refractor, the light reflector, time to drop the screen into place without breaking it. Drop the screen in place. It just sits in its little track here all the way around. Make sure that these tabs are in their proper channels, and then I can take the front cover and just snap that on top of it. That just snaps on just like that, sort of. turn the set over. And put my screws in that hold the bezel together. Putting in the screws to hold the bezel in place. Okay, that goes on. And this plugs in over here. Speakers go along over here. And then the back just sits on just like that. And a whole bunch of screws. Oh, did I forget? I think I forgot to put the mounting plate for the. There's a mounting plate that goes in here, if I remember. I'm so confident that this is going to work that I'm not even testing it before putting it together. Because if it don't, it's not coming apart again. I'll get this thing together one of these days. So many screws in the back of this set too. It's like, where do they all go? Like this set's got so many screws in it. It's not funny. I told a guy that came back with a stereo that I looked at, the one I looked at the other day, that there was a no fault found, and you know he took it away. The one that the HDMI was supposed to be bad. So I get a call, and he's telling me that it has no sound. So he brings it back, and I'm kind of waiting around for him so that I can test it. And the sound is fine. Well, it had no sound. The reason it had no sound was because the input was switched to digital instead of HDMI. So obviously it's trying to get the sound off of an external input. And that's not going to work. So I had to send him to get the remote control. Switched it over. And I joked, I said to him that we call this in the business surgery. He goes, surgery? What do you mean surgery? I said, removing the customer's head from their ass. And I charged him for, I said, you know, I said, I get these calls all the time at work. And I go out to a job, and it's something the customer's done wrong, and they get a bill of $150 for it, just for the truck roll, to go out and basically fix it. So he's like, oh, what are you going to charge me for this? Charge him $20 to push a button on the remote. But, you know, he's wasting my time. I'm waiting around here. I got other things to do, and I'm waiting around for him to show up so that I can show him that he's pushing the wrong button. Well, I guess the moment of truth. I'll turn it on and see whether it works. Buttons, power. Power at the bottom one here. Okay. Power on. Is it going to give me a picture? Or is it not? I would say that it's going to give me a picture. And there we go. There's my camera's displaying on it. It's fixed. Okay, so bad LED, which is quite common. This is the second one of these same TVs I've seen that's had a bad LED. The other one is currently in operation. I'm using it basically to do this. I'm using it to display the cameras on it. And This one's now fixed. Should last for a while until something else breaks or another one pops. Anyway, it's working now. That's all that matters. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.